In this video, we're going to be looking at a glitch in the ladder animation. Then I'm going to go on to briefly show the code implementation. Then I'm going to show some of the fixes I found and then the final result. So this demo shows the problem with the ladder climbing. Once you join the ladder and start moving up, between each animation as you're moving up, you get this funny head bobbing and also the sort of elbows stick out. The same thing happens when you move back down the ladder. Couldn't work out what the problem was initially for this. So this video is going to sort of show how I fixed it. Here we've got a demo of the fixes that I made. This is using a robot character that I'm currently planning to use for my next game. And you can see that the climbing now is a lot smoother. You don't get any head bobbing and the elbows don't stick out in the same way. Okay, so here's the code for the ladder climbing. All of these blocks in white are to do with a ladder. It's actually almost a third of the entire third-person character code. Got various bits. You've got the block for moving to the ladder, block for sliding down the ladder. There's a block for moving up while in the ladder. And then you've got to move the player to the exit point of the ladder. So the one that we've got the problem with here is the move up and down while in the ladder. So you can see this event starts here. It does a few checks to make sure you can move up or down in the ladder. And eventually it will stop any montages you're currently playing. And then if you're going up the ladder, it will play the climbing montage. And if you're going down the ladder, it will play the climbing reverse montage. Then every time this is notified, we go through and we move the player up a bit or down if you are going down. So if I could show you the montage, you can see that there's a few notifiers here. That's the animation. Then when we finally finish the animation on complete, it will come down to here and it will play the climbing montage, but it plays it with a play rate of 0, so it should freeze the character in that position. When we eventually get to here, we call this move player up. So if I double click that, it takes us down to this event. This is actually shared with the ledge logic. And what that does is we pass in the Z amount to move, which might be negative or positive. Then we call a move component to on the capsule component, moving them up or down, but keeping the same rotation so that you just move up and down the ladder. I finally got to the bottom of this issue when I started playing the game in a window while I had my animation blueprint selected. At the moment, though, you can see the drop down in the top that just says no debug object selected, but we're getting the error of the head bobbing. If we just choose the actual instance that we're running here, it's just one because it's only for our main character, it's not for the NPCs. Now you can see that we're actually going into a for loop, and that is when the head bobbing occurs because it's starting to play the animation for when you're falling. So the first attempted fix for this was to go into the rule where we go into the falling loop and we add in this ladder variable. Then we can add a not Boolean check, and then we can add an and statement so that you only transition to falling if you are falling and you are not in the ladder. Just wire that into the result. And then we can test what effect this has. Just run up to the ladder, press E to grab it. Now when we move up, the head is not bobbing, but you can see there's still a problem with the arms. He's like doing a little flap. So now we'll have a look and see what's going on here. We can see that after the montage for climbing is finishing, we are running the locomotion state. So I think that's the problem now. We need to make sure we don't enter that locomotion state while we are in the ladder. My next step was to add a ladder state which transitions from locomotion if you are in ladder and goes the other way if you are not in the ladder. You can see now that we're entering that state correctly, but we go into like a T pose just because I haven't set up any animation yet for when you are in the ladder state. So that's what we're going to do next. If we double click the ladder state, it opens up and it shows here that we've got an output animation pose. There is nothing yet plugged into it. The next thing I did was take a copy of the climbing animation, which I call climbing frame. And then I removed a bunch of frames where the movement of the animation occurs, so it's just frozen in the initial state. I did this because I'd made a few tweaks to the animation curves for the pelvis and spine, so I wanted to use the same one. Now, hopefully, we can use that to be our sort of default state when the animations for climbing and reverse climbing have finished. So now we'll just drag that on to the ladder state, plug that into the output animation pose. Now we'll have a look and see what this looks like. So we got the ladder. You can see it's a bit better, but after each animation, it seems to be sort of moving back down again. When we go down the ladder, it's okay, but there's an issue just going up. Does the animation, then it sort of jerks back down again to where it started from. So let's see if we can fix that last issue next. So here's the climbing animation that I'm using. It's had a slight tweaks to the pelvis and spine. You can see that over on the left-hand side, the enable root motion is not checked. So if we have that turned on, we should be sort of driving the capsule upwards, and we hopefully won't get the rubber banding coming back down again once the animation has finished. And there we go. It's nice and smooth now. It pauses and goes back to the default sort of climbing animation on the first frame. And it looks all right. Obviously, I could do a few more tweaks to try and get the feet exactly on the rungs, but it's a huge improvement over what we had before. Let me know in the comments if you'd have done this differently, but that's the end of this video. I hope it was useful. Don't forget to like and subscribe. It will really help out the channel, and I'll see you again soon, hopefully.